All right. Thanks for being here, everyone, as always. So we'll come to Samastitihi. Find a comfortable standing position with either the feet together or the feet apart. And just take a moment here to settle in. Settle into the breath, settle into the body. Taking a couple of deep breaths. As you begin slowing down the breath and lengthening the breath. Feel the breath moving in through the nostrils and out through the nostrils. With a gentle tone in the vocal cords, making the action in the throat as if you were whispering, but the mouth is closed. So you begin to hear the breath, listening to the sound of the breath. And on your next inhale, bring the palms together. Prepare for an Om. Vande Gurunam Charanaravindeya Sandarshita Swatma Sukhavabodhe Nishreyase Jangalikayamane Samsara Hala Hala Mohashantye Abahu Purushakaram Shankhachakrasidharinam Sahasra Shirasam Shwetam Pranamami Patanjalim. Exhale, we bring the arms to the side, and we'll begin with Surya Namaskara A. Inhale, bringing the arms over your head, gazing up. Exhale, up and over with a long spine to fold forward, hands to the mat. Inhale into half lift. Lift the heart and lengthen the spine. Exhale, step or jump back into a high plank with the option to lower down, option to lower the knees. Inhale, point the toes, lift the heart, maybe just cobra for this first one or all of them. Exhale, pressing back into downward facing dog, lifting the hips up and back. We'll be here for about 5 breaths. You can also take child's pose anytime during the practice. Settling into the breath, settling the attention onto the breath, moving in through the nose and moving out through the nose. Smooth, rhythmic breathing. We'll take one more here. And as you exhale, bend the knees, drop the tailbone, gaze forward, step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale into half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come to stand, pressing down and reaching up. Exhale, float the arms as you reach up through the crown. Again, just like that. Inhale, arms of your head. Shift back into the heels. Exhale, up and over as you fold. Lift through the lower belly. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Maybe lowering through chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Micro bend the elbows as you lift the heart. Exhale, downward facing dog. Finding a drishti point, gazing somewhere along the thighs or up towards the navel so that the back of the neck is lengthening. The upper back is spreading and widening. So there's no tension around the neck. Feel the shoulder blades wrapping around towards the front of the body, protracting the shoulders. One more breath here. As you exhale, bend the knees, drop the tailbone, gaze forward, draw the lower belly in, step or jump to the top of the mat. Inhale into half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come to stand. Pressing down, reaching up. Exhale, floating the arms. Inhale, arms over your head. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Finish the exhale at the bottom. Inhale, lift the heart as you reach back through the toes. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. And as you keep protracting the shoulders, feel like you're spreading the upper back. Like the outer edges of the shoulders are wrapping towards the front. Spread the fingers and press through the hands. So you also feel like you're pushing yourself out of the shoulders. So you're pushing the hands down, reaching the sit bones up and back, and instead of sinking into the shoulders, you're pressing yourself out of the shoulders to elevate the shoulders. So this down dog is awake and active. On your next exhale, prepare to jump or step forward. Step or jump. Inhale in the half lift. Exhale as you fold. Inhale, come to stand. Press down as you reach up through the pinkies. Exhale, samastitihi. One more Surya Namaskara A. Inhale, arms over your head. Wrap the shoulder blades here like in downward facing dog. Exhale, up and over. Fully exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Slowly bend the elbows. Inhale, upward facing dog. Legs are strong. Exhale, downward facing dog. Again, just finding the wrapping of the shoulder blades. And if it's difficult for you, I recommend coming to your knees. You're in a half down dog. And you have less weight on the arms, in the hands. So you can maybe refine the position of the shoulders, refine the technique here. Where you spread the fingers, press through the palms, and use that pressing down through the hands to help you press the outer edges of the shoulders down towards the floor so you widen the upper back. Feels a little bit like you lift the spine between the shoulder blades, but keep the sit bones reaching up and back. Feels like the armpits move away from the floor. And then you push yourself out of the shoulders to elevate the shoulders while they're protracted. Good. One more breath. Maybe coming back into a downward facing dog if you lowered the knees. And as you exhale, bend the knees, drop the tailbone, gaze forward, step or jump into half lift. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, come to stand. Pressing down as you reach up, feel the protraction, the spreading of the upper back. Exhale, samastitihi. Good. Inhale, deep breath in for Surya Namaskara B. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, reach the arms and the heart up. Bend the knees. Exhale, fold forward. Bending the knees a little bit if you need to as you fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Stay with the breath. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Turn the left foot 45 degrees. Right foot comes forward. Inhale, Virabhadrasana. Exhale, make your way back down. Step back and lower. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Turn the right foot, left foot forward. Inhale. Keep bending into the left knee. As you lift, exhale. Come back down. Stay with the breath. Finish the exhale. The bottom of the plank. Inhale. Upward facing dog. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Stay with the breath. Maintain the pace, the depth, the steadiness of the Ujjayi breathing. And use the inhales to breathe into the upper back to help you find that protraction. Keep the neck relaxed, the back of the neck long. One more breath. As you exhale, prepare. Step or jump. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, bend the knees, reach the arms, wrap the shoulder blades. You can keep the palms apart. Exhale, Samasthitihi. The shoulders are tight. Keep the palms apart as you lift the arms. Inhale, one more. Exhale, bend the knees. Inhale, reach the arms and keep wrapping the shoulder blades. Exhale, up and over as you fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Left foot turns, right foot comes forward. Inhale. Again, palms apart if you need. Exhale, step back, lower down. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot turns, left foot comes forward. Inhale, wrap the shoulder blades and elevate the shoulders. Exhale, step back, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, or half dog, or child's pose. Listening to the sound of the breath. One last breath. And as you're exhaling, bend the knees, drop the tailbone, gaze forward, step or jump into half lift. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, bend the knees, reach the arms up, wrap the shoulder blades, reach the pinkies. Exhale, Samasthitihi. Bring the feet hip-width distance apart, hands to your hips. Inhale, take a deep breath in as you lift the heart. Exhale as you fold forward with a long spine and catch the big toes. Again, inhale, lengthen the spine, press through the feet. Exhale, fold forward. Bending the knees as much as you need to. Engaging the legs. And lifting the lower belly just above the pubic bone. Softening the front of the hips. Releasing the spine and the neck. One last breath. Fully exhale. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, bring the hands to the hips. Inhale, rising back up into Samasthitihi. Parshva Utthita Parshva. Inhale, step the right foot back. We're going to skip Trikonasana. Exhale, pivot the right toes, bend the right knee. Press through the feet and either bring the forearm to the thigh or the hand to the floor. And the left arm comes over the head And you're doing the same thing in the left arm as you do in downward facing dog, as you do in arms when you do Ekam inhale, arms over the head. You're protracting the shoulder, wrapping the shoulder blade around towards the front of the body. So if you want to continue that line, you can think about the pinky pointing towards the floor. And then reach through the pinky so that it's active and you're elevating the shoulder. And you're counteracting the reaching of the pinky with the pressing down of the left foot. Good. Let's take one more breath here. Legs are still strong. Fully exhale and come up. Inhale as you straighten the right leg and pivot the feet. Exhale, bend into the left knee and move into the left side. Settle into the foundation and then think about that right arm protracting the shoulder, wrapping the shoulder towards the front, the pinky pointing towards the floor as opposed to the thumb pointing towards the floor. So that keeps that spiral of external rotation through the arm. And as you reach through the pinky in the opposite direction, press down through the right foot. Good. We'll take one more breath here and check back in with your foundation in the legs. Fully exhale. Rising back up. Inhale, pivot around, face the back of the mat for B. For the twisted triangle, extended side angle. Exhale, drop the tailbone round the spine as you twist to the right. You can bring the palms together. You can bring the left hand to the floor. If the left hand is going to the floor, same thing with that right arm over the head, protracting the shoulder. It's a little bit trickier in this one. And you have the option to lower the back heel or keep it lifted. And you can always have that knee on the floor if you really need that extra stability. Good, deep breath, maintaining the pace. One more. On your next exhale, we're going to gaze down for balance. Coming out of it, inhale. Pivot to the front of the mat. Exhale, twist to the left. Taking the variation that works for you today. Might be different than the right side. Settle into the breath. Keeping the Ujjayi breathing without over-engaging the throat. Release the soft palate. Take one more breath here. And as you exhale, gaze down. Inhale, rising up, open to the side. Exhale, Samastitihi. Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, step the right foot back, feet parallel, hands to the hips. Exhale, fold forward, hands to the mat. Inhale, lengthen the spine, press through the feet. Exhale, fold forward. Maybe the hands move back. Spreading the fingers. And if the palms are flat on the mat, press the palms into the mat and squeeze the elbows in towards each other and move the shoulders away from the ears. Keeping the neck relaxed with lots of space. And if you'd like, you can use the palms pressing down and forward to gently draw the torso through the legs, but keep the shoulders away from the ears. One more breath here. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, hands to your hips. Inhale, coming all the way up to the top. Exhale at the top and settle. C, inhale, reach the arms to the side. Exhale, interlace the fingers behind the back. Inhale, gently reach the hands away from the body. Exhale, folds forward, and with a little bit of tension, balanced with softness, move the hands away from the hips. Settle into the breath. especially using the exhales to soften, to allow the shoulder blades to move away from each other. One more breath. Coming up, inhale all the way to the top. Release the hands. Exhale into Samastitihi. Inhale, arms over your head. We'll do one more standing pose. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step or jump back. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Utkatasana. Jump both feet forward, feet together. Knees are bent, arms over your head. Sink down, the hips towards the floor. Draw the lower belly in as the tailbone stays heavy. And then reach the heart up, reach the pinkies up. So same thing with the arms, wrapping the shoulder blades so you feel like the pinkies are coming towards each other and reaching up. So you're spreading the upper back as you reach the pinkies up to elevate the shoulders. Good. Keep that action active in the shoulders. One more breath. Good. Exhale. Bring the hands to the mat. Inhale, you can do a half lift or Lalasana. Step or jump back as you exhale. Chaturanga Dandasana. Inhale. Upward facing dog. Exhale. Downward facing dog. Inhale. Let's jump through to seated and come to Dandasana. With the feet flexed, the heels rooting into the mat, the legs strong, the pelvis settling into the earth, and the spine straight but relaxed as you bring the chin towards the chest. Feeling into the residue, allowing the inhales to expand the rib cage. So expanding the upper belly, the sides of the rib cage, and even the back. Breathing into all 3 dimensions. One more breath here. Good. Release that. And now, if you have a block nearby or a book nearby, so I have a book right here. We're going to stay in that Dandasana position and just hold the book out in front of you. So grabbing the book or the block longwise so that the hands stay about shoulder width apart and the palms are facing each other. And you're just going to squeeze the block. Press the palms into the block or the book. And so you can feel that action we've been looking at of protracting the shoulders. You should feel some engagement here around the serratus anterior to draw the shoulder blades towards the front of the body. You're bringing the shoulder blades down onto the rib cage and drawing them forward by pressing the palms in. Good. And then just relax that for a moment. And we're going to do that again, but with the arms overhead. So we're going to go back to this position and just bring the arms up as far as you feel there's flexibility in the shoulders, which might not mean you can bring the arms over your head completely. It takes a lot of flexibility to do that. So bring the hands back out, squeezing the block or the book. And as you squeeze the block, reach the hands away from the shoulders. It's hard. It's a lot of work. So press into the block and reach the block away from you, and then start to bring the arms overhead and just stop wherever you feel that limitation and flexibility. Keep pressing and reaching, pressing and reaching, pressing and reaching. Good. For 5, hold it there. You can draw the lower belly in and drop the tailbone. 3, deep breaths. Press and reach. 4 and 5. Good. Lower down. So that's a really good pattern to sort of really train in the body for anytime we do external rotation. Arms over the head, but also back bends like Urdhva Dhanurasana. Okay, let's take a forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Inhale, catch the big toes. Look up and lengthen. Exhale, fold over the legs. So allowing the backside of the body to lengthen, giving the shoulders a break. Keeping the legs strong, the feet awake. One more breath here. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, release that. Let's bring the hands behind the hips, fingertips pointing forward for Purvottanasana. Inhale as you reach the tailbone forward, toes to the floor, hips up, chest up, and maybe you drop the head back. Good. Keep pressing the hands down and back to reach the toes towards the floor as you bring the feet together. Good. A couple more breaths. Lifting the pelvis, lifting the heart between the shoulder blades. And exhale as you lower back down. Taking a vinyasa across the shins. Inhale, lift up or roll over the feet. Step back. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And now we're going to jump into some second series. So let's jump into a squat position with the knees together. We'll take a variation of Pushasana. You can either bind around the outside knee. So we'll start by bringing the right elbow to the outside of the left thigh. And you can find your twist there with the heels lifted or the heels on the floor. You could also take the full bind, wrapping the arms around both shins. Very deep bind. Good. Keep pressing the right elbow if you have the prayer position down into the left thigh. Good. And then maybe for this last breath, bring the heels towards the floor and keep dropping the tailbone. But the hips might need to lift a little bit. Good. Exhale, release. Let's come into the other side. Left elbow to the outside of the right thigh. I'm kind of just going quickly through this pose, but there's some other practices where we break it down a bit more. Good. So you can have the heels lifted or the heels down. And you might find that you're just trying to find a way to balance. If the heels are down, the balance is easier, but the legs work a little bit more. One more breath. And exhale, release. Good. Let's take a vinyasa. Inhale, step back. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, let's shift into a high plank. Exhale, lower down to your belly. Let's come into a Sphinx position. So we're just going to slowly work into some back bends. Working up the spine, working throughout the entire spine. So with Sphinx, you can have the elbows underneath the shoulders, or maybe a little bit in front of the shoulders to lessen the back bend. You're going to press the tops of the feet into the mat, lift the kneecaps, reach the toes back as you press the elbows down and towards you to feel like you're dragging the elbows back, to feel like you're pulling the heart between the shoulder blades as you press the shoulders down and keep the neck relaxed. So you feel like you're reaching and lengthening the spine through both ends Back, out through the toes, and forward, out through the crown of the head. Good. Let's take one more breath here. Feel like you're pulling the rib cage away from the pelvis. Good. Exhale, release that. We're going to lie down with the arms alongside the body and the palms facing up. So same thing, we're going to press the tops of the feet into the mat so the kneecaps lift. And then this time start reaching the toes back so much that they start to lift off the floor. And then the heart reaches forward and lifts off the floor. Keep the back of the hands on the mat. Good for Shalabhasana. Feel the spine lengthening in both directions as the muscles on the backside engage to lift you up. Deep breaths. Good. Soften where you can. One more. And exhale, come down. Now we're going to bring the hands next to the chest for B. And this time we're going to do the same thing, but see if you can, instead of squeeze the glutes in towards each other, notice if you're doing that a lot, and see if you can minimize that by not letting the heels come towards each other. So feel the heels moving away from each other and the toes reaching back. Inhale, engage the legs, but don't roll the legs externally by bringing the glutes too much in towards each other. Lift up. So there's a balance of engaging the glutes to lift up, but not squeezing them so much in towards each other, which gets really tricky in this posture. So imagine the back of the thighs moving away from each other. Imagine the pelvis, the front of the pelvis, the pubic bone narrowing. Good. The palms are on the floor. Let's take one more breath here. Exhale, lower down. Good. Tuck the toes. Inhale, deep breath in. As you exhale, pop up into the bottom of the plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, let's shift back into a high plank. Exhale, lower down. Now we're going to come into Dhanurasana. So you're going to bend the knees, catch the feet or the ankles, if you can, the ankles. With the palms facing in, you're catching the outsides of the feet. And now you're going to lift the thighs away from the floor first, and then kick the legs. Good. For 5 breaths. Keep kicking the legs and keep lifting the thighs. And if you'd like, you can bring the feet together, but if not, just keep them hip-width distance apart. For 3, deep breaths. 2. And 1. Exhale. Release that. Palms next to the chest. Tuck the toes. Inhale. Exhale, pop up. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, let's come to our knees. And we're going to do Ustrasana. First, by interlacing the fingers behind the back, make sure that the knees are hip-width distance apart or a little bit wider. Exhale as you press the tops of the feet into the mat. Shift the hips forward a little bit. Draw the lower belly in. Lift the heart up and reach the interlaced fingers towards the floor. Good. You can keep the chin towards the chest or you can look up. Good. And as you inhale, squeeze the knees in towards each other a little bit. Draw the lower belly in and lift, expand the rib cage. Counteract that with the hands reaching towards the floor. So really feel that lift of the rib cage and the length of the front of the body for one more breath. And exhale. Soften that and release that. We're going to do it one more time, but I really wanted you to feel with that variation like the rib cage is lifting and the front of the body is lengthening. So we'll do Ustrasana one more time. You can do the same variation, or you can tuck the toes and bring the hands to the heels, or untuck the toes and bring the hands to the feet. So we'll start with an exhale. Press through the feet. Inhale, shift the hips forward, draw the lower belly in, lift the rib cage, and exhale again, shift the hips forward. Maybe bring the hands back to your heels. Inhale, again, lift the rib cage by drawing the lower belly in and feeling the rib cage move away from the pelvis as the pelvis shifts forward. Take a couple more deep breaths here and see if you can expand the rib cage like we focused on in Dandasana, breathing into the backside. Keep drawing the lower belly in with a gentle tone in the core. One more breath. Shift the hips forward, fully exhale. Come up empty of breath and inhale the rest of the way. Sit back onto your heels. Good. So we're working on lengthening the spine, and moving up the spine deeper and deeper. So first we'll do something to start to warm up the shoulders a little bit and the thoracic, and then we'll look at Viparita Dandasana. Cool? So let's come into because I want to do an Ashtanga pose. But maybe not. Okay, let's take a vinyasa. Inhale into a high plank. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Inhale, let's come into a tabletop position. Inhale, you're going to reach the right arm up. And exhale, you're going to reach the arm through. So we're just breaking away from Ashtanga for a little bit. Inhale. Reach the right arm up. Exhale, reach the right arm through. So we're mobilizing the upper spine. Inhale. Without moving the pelvis too much. Exhale. Good, that's 3. Let's do 2 more. Inhale. Reach, 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 reach. Exhale. Reach the arm through as much as you can. And 1 more. Inhale. Open the heart. Exhale. Now this time release and rest on the floor, the right shoulder. And if you want, you can reach the left arm over the head. Feel free to take any other variations that you know here. You could also bring the left arm around and tuck it on the right hip crease. Deep breaths here. Good. Walk it back into the tabletop. Let's do the left side. Inhale, reach the left arm up as you press through the right shoulder. Exhale, thread it through. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale, move with the breath. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Settle in. Where can you release? The upper thoracic spine can be the most difficult part of the spine to open and unlock. Sometimes it takes a lot of patience. We'll take 1 more breath. And make it back into a tabletop position. And now from the tabletop position, you're going to place the elbows onto the floor a little bit in front of where the hands are right now. And keep the elbows shoulder width apart. And you're going to bring the palms together. Bring the forehead towards the floor. You can adjust the elbows here if you need to. And with that active protraction of the shoulders that we worked on, you're going to lower the heart towards the floor. You can have the forehead on the floor or the chin, but try to keep a little bit of engagement. So if you need to come out of it and engage the shoulders from there, engage the shoulders, like if you're protracting the shoulders, wrapping the shoulder blades around towards the front, and then bring the forehead down, and then bring the heart towards the floor. You can have the palms together, or you can bring the palms away from each other and just have the fingertips touching. And once you're in it, you can still activate the protraction by thinking about the outside edges of the shoulders moving towards the floor. You could also focus the stretch into the upper spine by dropping the tailbone. Instead of arching the lower back and lifting the sit bones, see if you can drop the tailbone and draw the lower belly in. Good. Inhale, let's come up. And now this time, let's straighten the arms. And same thing. Make as if you're in downward facing dog, like we were, spreading the fingers and pressing the palms into the mat and protracting the shoulders. So feel like you're rounding the upper back before you go into the puppy pose. Round the upper back so you feel like the shoulder blades are moving towards the front. You're wrapping the shoulder blades this way. And then try to maintain that as you come into puppy pose as best as you can. So they might feel really different, the straight arm and bent arm version. So we're just finding that balance between moving into the flexibility with some engagement. Pressing the palms into the mat for one more breath. Inhale, come up. Come into a downward facing dog. Actually, let's take a vinyasa. Inhale into a high plank. Exhale, lower down, or just stay in high plank. Inhale into upward facing dog. Exhale into downward facing dog. Inhale, let's jump through to seated. And now we're going to do Viparita Dandasana, which I love as a preparation for Kapotasana, but also for just Urdhva Dhanurasana, the wheel pose. So if you don't know if you've never done this, you feel free to watch me first and then try. But if you know what you're doing, go ahead and just join me. We're going to lie down on our backs and prepare as if we were coming into Urdhva Dhanurasana, bending the knees, planting the feet alongside the outside edges of the hips. Just note that if the feet are like very close to the hips here, that's going to make the back bend deeper. So you can move the feet away from the hips to just kind of set up into a less steep back bend from the beginning if you need to. And then you bring the hands just like you would in Urdhva Dhanurasana. And you're going to come just to the top of the head. So you're just going to lift a little bit, lift the pelvis, press through the feet, press through the hands, and flip the head. So the top of the head is on the mat. And then you're going to change the arms into like you're coming into a headstand. So you bring the hands to the back of the head, interlace the fingers, and bring the elbows towards the floor, keeping the elbows shoulder width apart. So you need a certain amount of flexibility to just even get to this position where the elbows are on the floor. If the elbows aren't on the floor, you can still be here and just work on reaching the elbows towards the floor. And you can have the knees bent and just settle into this position. Now, from here, if the elbows are on the floor, you can press the elbows, press the wrists to lift the head off the floor. Relax the neck. And this will be a deeper, even deeper stretch. So, again, you need a certain amount of flexibility to just be able to lift the head off the floor. If you've been able to lift the head off the floor, think about pressing the elbows into the mat and using the legs to push the chest forward towards the elbows. Careful with the shoulders. If you feel anything in the shoulders, then just back up a little bit. Anything like that's sharp pain. And then you have the option with the head lifted or the head on the floor to bring the feet together and the feet further away from you so that you can straighten the legs. And if you can do both, I recommend try both. The head on the floor with straight legs, and then the head lifted with straight legs. Good. And when you're ready to come out of it, so you can come out and then go back in, but just so you know how to come out, it's the same way you can either come out the same way you came in, bring the hands back to the floor, Urdhva Dhanurasana hands, and then flip the head back. It's probably the simplest way. Or you can make the palms flat at the back, at the upper back, one palm over each other, and roll out that way. Tuck the chin, place one hand over the other, and just roll onto the hands. That's another way out of it. In the advanced series, you can kick over like a talk. So if you're working on it, I just want to come and check you out. But if it doesn't feel accessible to come into this pose, feel free to, keep working with the puppy pose. Nice, Charlotte. Nice, Ava. You can just think about bringing the elbows in towards each other and straightening the legs a little bit to bring the elbows towards the floor. That's great. Yeah. Nice, Karen. Nice, Natalie, using the wheel. The wheel's great, and then you can, start to walk the hands towards the edges of the wheel. Nice, Belen. Very nice. Yeah, and then you could play around with lifting the head. And then once the head is lifted, find the edge of how much you can bring the chest towards the elbows. And then you're just really getting into the shoulders and the upper spine. And then, of course, you could, in the third series pose, there's variations where you lift one leg straight up and the other leg is straight. So if you want, you can try, Charlotte, move that left leg further exactly. And then, nice. And this requires a very not slippery mat for the elbows and for the feet. Nice, Charlotte. Nice, Belen. Yeah, puppy pose is great too. Yeah, so good. Good. Okay. Thumbs up. And now, since maybe we're just like so open, hope maybe we feel open, maybe we don't. Let's take a vinyasa, and if you don't want to take a vinyasa, we're just going to meet standing up. And we can just work on some maybe like drop back preparations. So we don't have to do dropbacks if you don't want to do dropbacks. Just as like a pre-note in case anybody freaks out by that. Okay, so if you want, you can come to a wall so that you're about arm width, the distance, the length of your arm away from a wall. I'm using a staircase because I don't have a wall in my frame right now. So, and you're going to stand in front of your wall and you're going to think about Ustrasana. So the same way we broke down moving into Ustrasana, but this time, instead of bringing the arms from underneath to catch the feet, we're going to work the arms overhead and move into that flexibility that we just worked on in puppy pose and Viparita Dandasana. Yeah, and so when we reach the arms over your head, we're going to think of Ekam inhale. So Ekam inhale, bringing the arms over your head and you're protracting the shoulders and you're reaching through the pinkies, but we're going to do it with the palms apart. Yeah? So stand in front of your wall, or don't. If you feel comfortable, like just falling without a wall, you can. Bring the feet maybe a little bit wider than hip width distance apart. But if you have a stance that already works for you, feel free to keep working with that. And the feet can be pointing forward or turned out a little bit. And we're going to fully exhale with our palms together in front of our heart. And as you exhale, connect into the feet, grounding into the earth. Inhale, you're going to shift the hips forward, draw the lower belly in, lift the rib cage. Exhale, shift the hips forward, draw the lower belly in, lift the rib cage, bring the thumb to your forehead, start to look up. Keep shifting the hips forward and keep the legs strong. And then reach the arms back, look back, and maybe touch the hands to the wall. Inhale, come back up. And now you may notice I was too far from the wall, I was too close to the wall. So adjust yourself and we'll try again. So the pathway is palms in front of the heart, thumb to your forehead, and then reach the arms back and look back. Look back to your hands and look for the wall, or eventually look for the floor. And you need to leverage the body weight by bringing the hips forward as you reach back so that you can stay centered and you can stay in your legs and you can control the descent. Yeah? So if you don't bring the hips forward as you lift the heart and reach the arms back, then you're just going to lose the center and either fall forward or fall back. Usually it's fall back onto your arms too strongly. So keep the hips forward. You want to stay in your legs as long as possible. Yeah? And if you don't feel comfortable reaching back to a wall, you just come, into this position. Keep the hands in front of your heart and just look up and back as much as it feels comfortable. Cool? So there's somewhere for everybody to work here. So we'll start palms together. Exhale, feel into the feet. Inhale, shift the hips forward. Draw the lower belly and lift the heart. Exhale, shift the hips forward. Inhale, draw the lower belly and lift the heart. You can start to move the hands. Look back. Reach the arms. And as you bring the hands to the wall, hips forward. And if the hands are on the wall, maybe you start to bend the knees and walk down the wall and then straighten the legs. Bend the knees, walk down the wall, and straighten the legs as much as you can. Bend the knees, walk down, and straighten the legs. Maybe you go down to the floor, and maybe you make your way back out. Whew. Good. You can try again. I'm going to come watch you, but if you're done, you can sit down and forward fold. So think lengthening the front of the body, reaching the hips forward as you reach the hands back and look at your hands. So nice, Claire. That's great. Nice, Denise. So good. Nice, Belen. Yeah, nice. Nice, Mikolaj. Nice, Karen. Good. And you know, the closer you are to the wall, the deeper the back bend ends up being. Nice, Alfie. You know, a lot of this is just like having the courage to go back. That was great, Belen. Yeah. Nice, Charlotte. Nice. Nice, Ava. Yeah. Walk down a little bit and straighten the legs. And then you can bend the knees to walk down. Great. If you're done, take a forward fold. Thanks, Mikolaj. You had to go. Yeah. Thank you for being here. Make sure you forward fold or something, rest after all those back bends. Good. Let's release that. Turning inwards and slowing down the breath. Just a couple more here. Inhale, look up. Exhale, let's release that and lie down on our backs. Bringing the feet over the head, over the hips, and we'll come into shoulder stand to wind down the practice. So you can either keep the feet over the hips or you can come into the full shoulder stand. If you're coming into the full shoulder stand, I recommend coming into like Halasana first. So bringing the feet over the head so that you can really shrug the shoulders away from the ears. Down the back. Bring the hands to the lower back and then come up into Sarvangasana with the feet over the hips. Good, and we'll just settle here. Bringing the chin away from the chest and reaching the toes up. Deep, steady breaths. One more breath here. Exhale into Halasana, bringing the feet over the head. And if the feet touch, you have the option to interlace the fingers. Straightening the spine, reaching the sit bones up. And one last variation, Karnapidasana, bringing the knees towards the ears and towards the floor, bending the knees and rounding the spine. You could also take Happy Baby. Deep, steady breaths. One more breath here. And we're going to slowly roll down the spine. And once the pelvis lands on the floor, keep the head on the floor and lower the legs. Keep the lower back on the floor. You can straighten the legs to lower them slowly. And keeping the legs straight, we'll do Matsyasana. Looking towards the toes, catching the back of the thighs, and pressing into the elbows to lift the heart. And bring the crown of the head towards the mat. Keep pressing the elbows down to lift the heart up. Breathing into the front of the body. One last breath. Catching the back of the thighs, press the elbows, look towards the toes, and lie flat on the back to release the pose. Good, and we'll rock up to seated, or you can take Chakrasana, backward roll. Inhale, we'll take a vinyasa. Exhale, meeting at the bottom of the plank. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, come to seated. And we'll finish with the last 3 seated postures. So you can come into full lotus, or just take a comfortable seat. Wrap the arms behind the back. Or take the bind, holding onto the toes. Inhale, deep breath in. Exhale, fold. Turning inwards, following the breath. Maintaining the pace of the breath, maintaining the ujjayi breathing, the tone in the vocal cords. Feeling the breath through its entire pathway. Experiencing the breath by listening, by feeling the sensations, by keeping the attention on its movements. We'll take one more breath. Fully exhale, empty of breath, start to come up. Inhale as the shoulders come over the hips and the arms release to bring the wrist to the knee and the pointer to the thumb. And the chin gently moves towards the chest as the pelvis settles into the earth. The spine is straight but relaxed. Maintaining the pace of the breath, maintaining the ujjayi breathing, the tone in the vocal cords. As you get a lift just above the pubic bone, as if you're lifting the belly out of the pelvis, so that when you breathe in, the upper belly expands. releasing tension in the throat. Coming back to the experience of the breath by listening to its sound, by feeling its sensations, by feeling the rise and fall. The attention on the pathway of the breath, on the spaces between the inhales and the exhales. Stay with the breath. Stay with the experience of the breath. Couple more breaths. Your next exhale, fully exhale. We'll prepare for Uputihe. Hands in front of the hips. Pitch the shoulders forward. Inhale, lift the hips up and back. For 1, 2, you could also do this with the shins crossed. 3, 4, 5, 6, keep lifting up. 7, 8, 9, I'm shaking. It's okay if you're shaking. And 10. Exhale, lower down. You can take one final vinyasa, and we'll meet lying on our backs for the final resting pose. Palms facing up and the feet rolling to the side so you can completely relax. If you like, you can tuck the tailbone under by pressing the heels into the mat and shrug the shoulders under by pressing the elbows into the mat. And you might need to adjust a little bit just to give the lower back and the neck as much space as possible. Release tension there. Completely relaxing. Feeling the backside of the body making contact with the ground so you can experience the support of the earth. You can feel it. Releasing behind the eyes and releasing the throat. Letting all technique go, all judgment, and all assessment. Completely releasing. Feel free to stay here longer if you like. But if you're ready, you can start to wake up the body. Moving your fingers and your toes. Reaching the arms over your head for a full body stretch. Exhale as you bend the knees and plant the feet. Falling over to either side. You can keep that bottom arm overhead to rest on the arm like a pillow. When you're ready, you can slowly, with as little effort as possible, make your way back up to a seated position. We'll just take a final moment here together in silence. Bringing the palms to heart center for Anjali Mudra. Swasti prajabhyaha paripalayantan nyayena margena mahim mahishaha go brahmanebhyaha shubhamastu nityam lokha samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you, everyone.